Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Koala English Podcast. I'm Anthony. How are you today?
Hi everyone, I'm Samantha. I'm doing well, thank you, and I'm really happy to be here with you today.
How are you feeling as you listen right now?
Maybe you're relaxing. Maybe you're walking, or maybe you're just taking a quiet break.
In today's episode, we'll have a gentle, real conversation.
The kind of conversation people have when they talk about a movie they love.
We'll talk about favorite films,
Movies that stay in our minds.
movies that make us feel something,
We'll talk about what happens in a movie,
the story,
the characters.
and why the movie is special to us.
We'll use everyday English,
Simple words,
natural sentences,
the kind of English people use when they talk about movies with friends.
You don't need to understand every word.
Just listen and enjoy the conversation.
As you listen, you might think, I've seen a movie like that.
Or, I want to talk about my favorite movie too.
And maybe later, you'll share your favorite movie with someone in English.
So take your time.
There's no rush.
Let's begin.
Anthony, earlier you mentioned that your favorite movie is Titanic. It's a very famous film. What makes it so special for you?
For me, Titanic is special because it combines a clear love story with deep human emotions. It's not only about romance, but also about choice, class, courage, and sacrifice.
That sounds quite meaningful. Could you explain the story from the beginning in a simple way?
Of course. At the beginning of the movie, we meet a young woman named Rose. She comes from a wealthy family and is traveling on the Titanic with her mother and her fiancé.
So her life looks comfortable on the outside.
Yes, very comfortable. But emotionally, she feels trapped. Her future has already been decided by her family, and she feels she has no control over her own life.
And that's where Jack comes in.
Exactly. Jack is a young man with no money, but he has freedom. He wins his ticket to the ship by chance, and he lives life in a very open and curious way.
How do Jack and Rose actually meet?
They meet in a very emotional moment. Rose is feeling hopeless, and Jack notices her and talks to her instead of judging her. He listens to her, and for the first time she feels truly seen.
That feels like the start of something important.
It is. Their relationship doesn't begin as a dramatic romance. It grows slowly through conversations, shared experiences, and the way Jack encourages Rose to see life differently.
Do the people around them accept their relationship?
Not at all. Rose's fiancé represents control, pride, and social pressure. Her mother is also more concerned about status and security than Rose's happiness.
So there's conflict even before the disaster.
Yes, The emotional conflict is already strong before the ship hits the iceberg.
What changes when the accident happens?
When the Titanic starts to sink, the movie shifts completely. Fear, panic, and survival become central. At the same time, Jack and Rose's bond becomes even stronger.
How do they behave during that time?
They protect each other. Jack repeatedly puts Rose's life before his own, showing love through action, not words.
That leads us to the ending, doesn't it?
Yes, the ending is tragic but deeply meaningful. Jack sacrifices his life so that Rose can survive.
That moment stays with many viewers.
It does, because Rose survives, but she carries Jack's influence with her for the rest of her life. She lives boldly, freely, and honestly, just as Jack encouraged her to do.
So his impact doesn't end with his death.
Exactly. His impact shapes her entire future.
Why do you think this movie attracts so many people even today?
Because the romance feels sincere, not artificial. People connect to the idea of loving someone deeply, even for a short time, and being changed forever by that love.
The actors play a big role in that feeling.
They do. Jack is played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and Rose is played by Kate Winslet. Their performances feel natural and emotionally honest.
And of course, we can't forget the music.
Yes, the song My Heart Will Go On connects strongly to the movie's emotions.
By Celine Dion, right?
Yes, the song expresses love, loss, and memory, which perfectly match the story of Jack and Rose.
So the movie is romantic, but also very human.
Exactly. That's why Titanic continues to touch people's hearts even many years later. Samantha, earlier you said you enjoy foreign movies that are not in English. Why do you feel drawn to those kinds of films?
Because they slow me down.
Slow you down?
Yes, when I watch with English subtitles, I don't rush to understand every sound. I pay more attention to emotions, silence, and meaning.
So the language doesn't block the experience?
No, sometimes it actually opens it. That's why I love this Vietnamese film called The White Silk Dress.
When was the movie made?
It was released in 2006 in Vietnam.
Who made the film?
It was directed by Lu Huang and written by Nguyen Thanh Van.
Can you tell us how the story begins?
The story begins before 1954, during the final years of the French War in northern Vietnam.
What is life like at that time?
Life is unstable. Violence is spreading. Ordinary people are struggling to survive.
Who do we meet first?
We meet Zan and Gu. They are servants in a landlord's house.
What kind of life do they have?
They are very poor, but deeply connected to each other.
What forces them to leave their home?
The collapse of the old system and the danger around them.
Why do they flee south?
Not to chase dreams, just to find a place where they can live in peace.
Do they take anything important with them?
Yes, only one precious thing.
What is it?
It is a white silk dress from Hadong. It is Gu's wedding gift to Zan.
What does that dress represent?
Marriage, dignity, and hope for a better life.
What happens after they flee?
They stop in Hoi An unexpectedly.
Why there?
Because Zan gives birth to their first daughter there.
And later?
Later, they have 4 daughters in total.
Is life easier for them in the South?
No, they face floods, hunger, and constant poverty.
Do they stay together?
Yes, they stay together as a family.
How do they survive day to day?
Gu works on the river collecting shells. Zan sells food at the market.
What do they sacrifice for their children?
Everything, so their daughters can go to school.
There is a very painful moment involving Zan, isn't there?
Yes, one of the most difficult moments in the film.
What happens?
Zan becomes a wet nurse to earn money for her children.
That sounds shocking.
It is, because she's forced to feed an old man instead of a child.
How does that affect her?
The work brings her deep shame and emotional pain.
Why does she continue?
Because her children need education and they need to survive.
That's devastating.
It is, but the film shows this quietly, without exaggeration.
Why is that important?
Because the honesty makes it powerful.
Does the silk dress appear again later?
Yes, Zan cuts the wedding dress to make school uniforms for her daughters.
What does that show?
Love turned into sacrifice.
What happens as the war continues?
The war becomes more brutal.
Does the family suffer directly?
Yes, one of the daughters is killed in a school bombing.
And what happens to Zan?
Later, Zan dies in a flood while trying to support her family.
And what happens to Gu?
In the end, Gu dies during a wartime evacuation trying to protect the silk dress of his wife and child.
That's heartbreaking.
Yes.
Does the film end with peace?
Not really. The family story ends before peace arrives.
And 1975?
1975 is mentioned as a symbol of peace, but the people we follow do not live to see it.
Why does this movie stay with you?
Because it shows love without speeches.
Without speeches?
Yes, love through endurance.
And through loss as well.
Exactly. Love that continues even after loss.
Does watching with English subtitles change that feeling?
It does. I feel the emotions more deeply than words alone.
What about the music in the film?
The theme song is also called The White Silk Dress. It is sung by Tron Tu Ha.
How does the song feel?
It carries sorrow and tenderness at the same time.
So, is this why foreign films stay with you?
Yes, they remind me that emotion does not belong to one language.
What do you mean by that?
Feelings can be understood without many words, and sometimes silence speaks louder than dialogue.
And the language itself?
I like foreign films, films that are not in English.
Why those films?
Because they allow me to discover stories from other countries and see life through different human experiences.
Many people think a favorite movie is just entertainment.
Something we watch to relax and then forget.
When we first watch a movie, we often focus on the story.
The action, the romance, what happens next?
We don't always notice the deeper meaning.
We don't ask why a scene feels heavy or why a moment stays with us.
But as we grow older, the same movie can feel different.
A small scene suddenly feels important.
A quiet sacrifice becomes an act of love.
A simple choice becomes courage.
That's why favorite movies stay with us.
Not because they were exciting,
but because they were honest.
they reflect real feelings, real struggles.
And often, when a movie ends with loss or death, it leaves a deeper mark.
Because it reminds us that love is fragile and time is limited.
Those endings don't shock us.
They stay quietly in our minds and hearts.
And sometimes they help us understand life,
Not at the first viewing.
but later. As you listen, you might start thinking about your own favorite movie.
Not the whole story, just a few moments.
A scene you remember clearly,
A line of dialogue.
or a piece of music. Do you remember one?
Maybe a character you felt close to.
Or a moment that made you feel quiet inside? You might remember where you were when you first watched it.
Who you watched it with, or how old you were then.
Maybe it felt like just a movie at the time.
But now it feels more personal.
You don't need to analyze it.
You don't need to explain why you like it.
Just notice what comes back to you.
And gently ask yourself, why does this movie stay with me?
Because favorite movies often return quietly.
And they remind us who we were and who we are becoming.
So today, we talked about favorite movies.
We talked about what makes a movie feel special to someone.
We shared how people talk about movies in everyday English.
How we describe stories, characters, and moments we remember.
We also talked about watching movies from different countries.
And what it's like to watch films that are not in English.
We shared how subtitles can change the way we listen.
Helping us notice tone, silence, and emotion more clearly.
We talked about movies that stay with us for many years.
Not because we watch them often, but because they leave an impression.
So today wasn't about finding the best movie.
It was about understanding why certain movies become personal to us.
And how talking about movies can also be a way to talk about ourselves.
Our feelings, our memories, our experiences. Thank you for spending this quiet time with us today. Thank you for listening and reflecting with us.
Thank you for listening slowly and for letting the feelings come naturally.
We hope this feeling stays with you after the episode ends.
Maybe you carry it into your evening, maybe into your weekend, or maybe into a small, quiet moment when you think about a movie you love.
And remember something important.
Favorite movies are not just stories on a screen.
They often reflect our feelings, our memories, and parts of our own lives.
Some movies help us understand love.
Some help us understand loss or courage.
And some stay with us because they quietly change how we see the world.
Even one scene, one character, or one piece of music can stay in our hearts for a long time.
If this episode helped you even a little, please like and subscribe to the Koala English Podcast channel.
You can also share this episode with someone who enjoys movies and gentle conversations.
And if you feel comfortable, leave a comment and share your thoughts. What is your favorite movie? When did you first watch it? How does it make you feel now?
We love reading your stories and learning from your experiences.
Thank you for being here with us.
We'll see you next time on the Koala English Podcast.